because I like what you're doing now with all of your videos. You're being really diverse and exploring.
Oh, yeah, I have a big variety on my YouTube channel. I definitely cover the things that I'm interested in, but it's for those followers or subscribers of mine, it's a pretty big variety of stuff, but it's all, I mean, I think it kind of falls within a similar, I don't know how to describe it, but definitely a variety. They used to call these things kind of conspiracy theories, some of them, but I think we've got to drop the word theory now and admit these are actual conspiracies.
Yeah.
So those are along the lines of some of the things that I find interesting, and therefore I put them up on my channel, hoping to generate interest on the part of my subscribers. And of course, I throw in a little bit of the psychedelic, crazy stuff and distorted faces, like the promo video that I put out yesterday. I got to have a little fun with it.
Oh, yeah, and you do. I enjoyed the one you put out saying you were going to be on the show. And I shared, I can't remember exactly when you put it out, but it was like all psychedelic saying, does anybody else feel this way?
Yeah. I get some interesting comments, people that I get some interesting comments to that one in particular about how I need to take some time off and get away from it and stuff like that. And I guess sometimes my level of humor is hidden so far in there that some people miss it, because I'm not really losing my mind, but trying to make the point that how difficult it was to remember back to the days when we weren't really, I guess, obsessed might be the word, obsessed with all of the things that are bombarding us every single day in the news, and it's major items every day. It reminds me of the Mayan calendar description that we were really studying last year just before September, when we were coming into the ninth. I guess it's the ninth.
The ninth wave.
Ninth wave, where time keeps speeding up. In fact, I had a video on there that some young kid on there explained it really well, and it seems as though time has speeded up. I mean, time itself hasn't speeded up. There's still 24 hours in a day, but the events, the distance between major events has been erased, so that we're having one major event right after another on a daily basis. And, as we come up on all the items that you're seeing today, with potentially World War III around the corner, with the way Russia and China are shaping up behind the scenes with the oil and with Iran and Syria, and then we got our fingers into all kinds of stuff that by presidential order only, without going to Congress, Obama's declaring wars around the world using the UN and NATO, the NATO, the NATO group. So we're going to war based on NATO and the UN rather than based on Congress approving us to go to war. So we've long since passed the point of living under the Constitution here in America.
Well, right. I mean, it's so true. It's like every day. I just had talked about that last week, saying, sometimes you have to tune out because it just gets so overwhelming. Because, like you're saying, at times life might have seemed boring, as far as news. And now it's every moment seems to.
Back to those boring days.
Right. You know, and we're older generations, you and I. I'm in my 50s. You know, you have no problem sharing you're in your early 60s. And, you know, we come from a generation where we really experienced, you know, childhood, where I don't think kids today do. I have teenagers I fight with to try to keep them as children, which now I give up. I'm like, well, you're teenagers. You know, you're at the back door now of young adults. But that's true, that it's just all coming all at once. And just no day seems to be a good news day. So now how do you feel about, now do you follow all the political scene as far as watching the GOPs and all their debates and everything?
Kind of do. I mean, I don't actually watch the debates because I just would prefer to get the highlights off of YouTube, which is, I think, a better use of my time.
Right.
But yeah, I've been following that, and I've been actually a strong proponent of Ron Paul because he seems to be the only one talking about the Constitution and our liberties and freedom. And so I happen to believe that Ron Paul might be our last opportunity to save the republic. If, and I preface that with it, if it's not too late already.
Right.
I've been pretty cynical in some of my videos in the past about how maybe it is already too late, and that Obama's, you know, going to be the last president that we have, and all these things are going to change during this year, 2012, before the end of the year. So I'm not so sure that we're even going to have an election, and if we do, I don't know if the outcome will actually matter, but I think I'd like to hang on to the hope that Ron Paul could slip in through the delegates counts, through the caucuses and the delegates that he's accumulating kind of behind the scenes. And there's a video on that as well on my channel. Pretty exciting news about it. But if Ron Paul is able to get in there, I think that we stand a chance of turning the republic around. If not, I'm afraid that the New World Order is going to have the full reign over us, and that's not going to be a pretty picture for any of us. Right.
Well, it seems like 2012 was, irregardless of the Mayan calendar. And sometimes I wonder if all the talk the last couple of years of the Mayan calendar wasn't to put everybody in a mindset, so to speak, that 2012, no matter what, seems it's going to be the year nobody's going to forget.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I mean, it seems as though everybody, regardless of what orientation you're coming from, whether it's a Hindu or Mayan or Hopi or Christian or any you name it, any background, 2012 seems to be the year that has been prophesied about in virtually all aspects of religion and civilization.
Right. And, well, and, you know, 2012, you know, I mean, it's come out about, I believe it's actually the 21st as well, that that was the 100-year, oh gosh, I just lost my word there, that's when would be the end of the Federal Reserve.
Huh.
December 2012. Have you heard that?
Yeah, there's something that it expired or needs to be re-upped or something along that same date in December. I think you're right. I think I have heard that. So there's a lot of...
Yeah, and you know, I wish I had notes in front of me because there's several things that I've come across that all coincide with 2012 that I'm like, well, regardless of the Mayan calendar, it was going to happen anyways. Or, you know, I have to wonder, okay, so did the powers that be, they've known this all along, so that's why everything comes to a head in 2012? So that's why I say I think 2012, as time goes on, will be the year that it's going to be a year that's going to stick in people's minds versus, say, like 9/11 was one morning that seared into our brains.
Right.
It feels like an entire year is going to be seared into our brains. And I know March, excuse me, I know now that March is here. March has a lot of emphasis on it because of that 188 days.
Yes.
Now, you've been doing a little bit of your own investigating into that, right?
I have. In fact, I found someone a few weeks ago that posted up a video. He goes by the name of Curtis, spelled, I think, Qerdus. But anyway, I used his to post up one on the 9.0 magnitude earthquake predicted for March 23rd. Now, I posted that because that was his prediction, but I thought that he had enough valid points on the sheet that he read. It was kind of an interesting, different type of video. But there were enough interesting things on it that I wanted to remake it up and post it up there. And it's been viewed quite a few times, obviously. We're coming into that time frame, so people are concerned with it. But one of the things that during the time I was listening to him, I became clear about something, and I made a video of it, which I posted right following it. And that's one called The Theory of the Heavy Mass Object Orbit Explained. And I have just a piece of paper with some scribbled things on it. And the thing is that I've been listening to guys like Terrell and Francis and a lot of people for a long time on this subject. And I'm a visual kind of person, so if I can't visualize it in my mind, I can't really grasp it. So even with all of that, probably close to a year's worth of paying attention and watching videos and trying to learn about this, I still never had the visual picture in my mind of where this thing was coming from and why did it affect us during these two times of the year, you know, in March like that, February, March, April, and then also on the other side, August, September, and October, which seemed to me to be times when we had a lot of big earthquake activity anyway. It just seemed obvious to that. And that's where the 188 days comes in, is apparently as this alleged, and I say that because I don't think anybody's really identified it yet in particular, but this alleged heavy mass object is coming from a part of the universe to do a flyby around the sun, or like an orbit around the sun, and twice a year, once a year, the Earth gets in between the sun and this location of this heavy mass object, and that covers a kind of a 3-month period when the strongest point would be right in the middle around March 21st. And then on the other side of the year, 188 days later, apparently, we are on the outside, so the sun is in between us and this heavy mass object. And either way, it's creating apparently some gravitational pulls. So this is the theory. It's creating gravitational pulls and effects on the Earth that maybe together, that plus the solar flares, I don't know if there's a connection there either, but there seems to be a lot of things affecting the planet Earth now that we are becoming aware of that we just were not aware of a short time ago.